we've got a fun set ahead of us. We're not going to waste any time. We want you guys to just keep the games rolling, which is why we've got a phenomenal set coming up here. RecoN, who's been grinding non-stop. Age of Mythology, converting from Age of Empires 4. And Wham, a podium finish level Age of Empires 4 player, are both about to clash in AOM Retold. Single elim, best of 3, and we kick off with game number 1 here on a very open map.
Yeah, I think people forget as well that RecoN was a myth player before AoE4. So RecoN really has an advantage in terms of just like general knowledge. I think Wham played a bit, but I don't think he played as much mythology as RecoN did. RecoN played quite a lot. He's in the JSS clan, stuff like that. Like his main practice partner being Mista, they've been scrimming every day, I believe, which is incredible. I've talked to both of them about this, and they are ready. They are here to party. I'm excited to see how Wham does here, but I think he's up against a monster in RecoN.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was talking about this on my stream. RecoN was there, and I was like, I think Age of Myth will do good. I don't think it's going to be like as big as a Fortnite, which is realistic. That doesn't mean the game's going to do bad. And then RecoN's just there. No, I agree on everything you've ever said, KP, but this is the time I can't. Like, he believes in the game wholeheartedly here. He pretty much has bailed on AoE4. I talked to him about this. I don't think he minds me saying. Like, he is all up on Age of Myth. He's looking to see where that future is going to take him. I'm excited to see this matchup, right? Oranos versus Loki, rather, my brain today. A very intriguing matchup. We've been seeing quite a lot of Oranos, and really the most drastic change, obviously the Atlanteans, the human units across the board got buffed, but I think the other really big change here was to do with the sky passages, right? Like, they build a lot quicker. I think they got like a 33% increase in build speed.
I think the big change is the buff. Almost back to legacy stats, like in relative power, right? I don't remember the exact numbers, but like for a while now, like in the past couple weeks since the games come out, the Terma just have not felt up to snuff. They have not done what they used to, and that is what Oranos' bread and butter was. He could go full Murmelo or Terma and just dominate, or even in the right situation, mostly Terma. And we saw that in a set earlier with Margugu, and I think we're going to see it again here. Mobility is king, and that is what Oranos does great. He does need to invest now compared to Legacy. You need to invest in that tech. I forget the exact name because it's a new tech. I can double check, but it basically gives you your infantry move speed back, which used to be a base part of the civ. It's called Empyrean Speed for 100 gold and 5 favor. Gives you 10% infantry speed. Then you have the Terma with their improved speed. Then you have the Caladri, which can pacify enemies to reduce their speed. Then you have Shockwave to displace them. Then you have the Carnivora to also displace and like pull enemies around. It leads to just a very disruptive style in these fights, and it's why Oranos can be so good.
Uranus?
Uranus can be Oranos can be so solid, and we'll see how that goes. Sorry, I just went on a big rant about
I mean, dude, I had a marker, I was following it across the board, you know, like the conspiracy board, and I've just like set up a pentagon. You went to so many places there. It's definitely a bunch of different, more subtle buffs, some more obvious, but definitely subtle ones on the side that has really brought Atlanteans back into the picture. I mean, their pick rate, I think, I would not be surprised if it's more than 25% overall in this tournament when we configure the stats at the end. But little kind of tip to people as well with Atlanteans. Another thing that I think is very subtle and more nuanced about them is just compared to most of the factions in the game, they tend to have more vision, right? Because they benefit from producing these oracles to get their favor generating. So inherently, unless you're up against a very aggressive civ that tries to deny that, you're going to pretty much see everything your opponent is doing.
Well, even more so with Oranos, right? He has extra line of sight on his units, but the favor generation of oracles is based on how much they see. So Oranos, his oracles, if they're just standing still, generate 25% more favor, which is insane. It's like a lot of favor. And you saw Wham there already leaning into some of the meta stuff we see from Oranos. Now, he hasn't been the most popular, but this is still a way to play him. It's just not super popular. You get a couple of oracles early. You get that vision. You expect 1 or 2 to go down. But by the time you hit Heroic, you have enough to cast Chaos and then recast it again immediately because it's only 50 favor. And if you can do that right, or if you spam a lot of things, it can just make things really strong.
And
A lot of the game is happening in front of us, though.
It really is, right? Like, I love the snipe outs as well. To your whole point, Wham's still generating a lot of favor, despite the fact that RecoN, I think he's actually doing a really good job of just reconning himself and sniping these boys down. What I love about the idea of that chaos ability as well is I'd say, quite often when I see Norse playing a little bit late in the game, their armies become very clumped compared to a few other factions, right? I'd say they're almost Zergy sometimes when they try to reach their momentum. So this is going to have to make you think twice, right? Maybe quality over quantity, because once that chaos goes in, if you have a lot of low HP units that wail on each other, you're just going to be one entire army down straight out.
Yeah. And we see really good use of Valor as well from Wham. It's when you have that favor float, it's really important to keep using it. You want to save it sometimes for like the burst heal it can provide, but a lot of times you just want to keep spamming it until the cost gets a bit high. Get a good hero count out. Get things rolling for you. We'll see if Wham uses it again off cooldown or if he starts saving it. You see the split, and down they go. The Hersier dominating that Prometheus.
It's kind of an interesting dynamic as well, right? Because of course, there's two ways to generate a favor typically with the Norse, right? It's going to be having Hersiers, and it's also going to be fighting. And one of those weird things is because oracles are very valuable to build, you want to set them out on the map. In a way, you can kind of feed a little bit of extra favor the other way. For a faction that I sometimes find maybe struggles compared to others to surge their favor production in the early game. So,
yeah, well, you say that, but there actually are ways to. Just as an educational tidbit, you get a little bit of favor from hunting, the act of killing the animals. You also get 2 favor per goat killed. So you can choose to kill your goats to get like 20, 25, 30 favor, right? That can give you enough favor to do certain techs. Now, here you can see all the goats are alive, and remember, they fatten over time. So if you kill them early for the favor, it's a trade-off against the food later, right? So it's not the best way, but if you ever are thinking, oh, I really wish there was a way I could get a god tech as a Norse player, consider just killing the goats, you know?
That's pretty cool. Look at this. This is why I have my boy Winston. He's got all the little tidbits for me. And then the other thing I like about this comp is we're just kind of going into mass cavalry. One thing that feels really beneficial for RecoN here is, of course, that healing spring, which I think most of the time we see Loki players just drop it at home, right? And it works best with cavalry comps for that very reason.
But we did see an interesting choice. We're getting thundering hooves. What's on the left there? The icon I missed.
It went.
What was it? I think that was.
It might have been Thundering Hooves.
It can't be. No, he went.
No.
No, he went for the. That's a different god. Sorry, I'm.
Okay.
I'll figure this out.
I can't remember the icons off by heart. I think most people can't.
That was Hall of Thanes. Sorry, Hall of Thanes.
Okay.
Bread and butter for Loki, right? It makes sure Hersier's better, faster. So it's quite potent and useful, and you can see that mobility now. They're able to run away from these chasing Murmelo.
Murmelo, of course, a good all-rounder unit. I'm going to get that ridiculous value. I don't think we're playing into counteracts too much at the moment, but considering you see more and more of these cav coming, I'd expect Wham to make that type of transition soon. But Bragi, in the meantime, is going to be on the way. And I really like these battle balls against Mass Murmelo because they just get so much saturation with those active abilities.
Now, there are a lot of heroes, though, already on the field. Wham's been doing a good job keeping Valor going, constantly using it. And you can see there's something really cool with the sky passages. You just place it near your vills, and it gives them a safe out, no matter what, right? And it can really help. You do have to react in time, and they need to be close enough to it. That's why you can see these villagers, these citizens exposed on the map are always going to be sitting near these sky passages. They cost 5 favor to place. You get 2 + 1 per age as like the amount that you can build. And it's just like a really important tool for Aranos to be on the map, and it enables him to be a bit more aggressive at times.
Yeah, and it pretty much has you playing Benny Hills, right? Like, they're pretty tanky, so in the early game, your raiding units aren't going to be able to just delete them, so you don't want to hang around that long. And I think it's also the tricky factor of you might see settlers, villagers go inside there, but it doesn't mean that's what's going to come out to meet you, right? Like, there could always be an army waiting to jump you, which is why I think we usually see players hesitate to just kind of pile in on sky passages.
Now, an interesting change with flaming weapons, if you didn't know, it used to just function just off of the base damage, but now the % increase does factor in upgrades. So getting iron weapons in the heroic age can be a way to make flaming weapons even stronger of a timing. I've seen several players who know this waiting a bit sometimes before they take that engagement with flaming weapons. It also gives you time to actually train a few battle bores. But we're going to be seeing this army come down, and I don't know. Do you think he's in a position to fight? Chaos is coming in, which also is really good counter to flaming weapons because the enemies kill each other faster.
You got to get there quickly, though, right? Like, Hyperion's
Yeah.
still some way out. You're probably going to lose the Sky Passage, maybe control the berries temporarily. I mean, and how do you overcome 839 military?
Yeah, something's going on there with the numbers. Someone's cooking the books, KP. We don't talk about tax front often, but when we do, it's about military numbers.
Hey, this is why he has favorable seeding, okay? I couldn't get that many military units out in a 3-hour game. But nice start here. Sky Patch going to be brought down. The tech up is still on the way. Now, there's no indication yet, but the fact that Wham's backing off so much should make him suspicious. And did he really just garrison a settler mid-somersault?
What a trick! That's a party trick if I've ever seen one. The units, you can see the battle board pushing the enemies back. The dive comes in, flaming weapons is out. Hyperion, nowhere to be found.
He needs to split right now. It's coming through in about 10 seconds. So there should be a semblance of suspicion for RecoN right now. This is getting a little bit weird.
From the 3 Jogger doesn't go off.
Chaos goes out.
Chaos. The flaming weapons units are going to kill each other much, much quicker. The entire army might just get cleaned here. The 3 rock giant spawns. And in comes the AoE taunt. Oh, what a twist. Loki coming in with the tricks. Shockwave comes out. Oh my god, KP. What just unfolded? That was pure Loki chaos.
That was exactly what I'd expect from the God of Mischief, and a mischievous player, the tricky Trash Panda himself, just pretty much baiting that Chaos to come out. Pitch perfect, and now we see the exposure points. Second wave able to raid on the north side. The meantime, the balls were causing anarchy, pure anarchy, in the base of Wham. Things are becoming scrambled, and he is finding it difficult to get reliable military together, let alone keep his economy going. Torn again! And he hides behind the front line to minimize the damage taken.
Oh my gosh, these giant spawns from these Loki Hearths here are just so incredible. Keep in mind, the reason why we saw so much is that the myth unit spawns are based on the damage dealt, right? So when flaming weapons is active, you deal more damage. So you just get a crap load of units there. And we saw the tail end of one spawn come in that the Draugr, and then almost immediately we saw the rock giant come in with the taunt, and it's just like, oh my gosh, just so much damage. And now, to be clear, I don't know how much eco damage was dealt here. Quite a lot, it seems, on the right side as a bunch of citizens go down.
Yeah, he smuggled to the south side,
he
though.
He didn't garrison out in time.
What?
He made it to the Sky Passage, but then didn't, and he notices and immediately resigns.
What a game out of these two. Just getting one, and RecoN just so on point with that timing there. Understood exactly what Wham was playing for. And, you know, we talk about chaos as this really powerful turning point in the game, but I think what we don't talk about enough, Winston, and we just saw it here, is how predictable it can also be. That entire sequence of events, RecoN was goading him, taunting him, begging him to use that ability, and he seemed to have the perfect solution when it mattered most.
Wow, yeah, really showing the power of Norse there. Kind of, you could see the glimmer of Uranus in those fights from Wham. You could see what he was aiming for, but generally Shockwave is used to win a fight, and there it was a purely defensive Shockwave to just not get wrecked, right? He just had to stop the units, and I don't know, you just didn't see it all come together, right? He had this army of infantry, and when you make a lot of classical army with Uranus, the point is to pressure the map, not to defend, right? You're supposed to be like suppressing the opponent's resources, but in this game, Wham wasn't able to take real map control there, and kind of makes you wonder about the Uranus pick on this map. But I mean, RecoN just showing his excellence, showing that he really has a good understanding of the timings. Crazy game, man. That was crazy with the chaos, dude. I thought the chaos was going to be it for RecoN there, but just all of his units lived with like a thread, and then the second they did damage, the fight was turned. Incredible stuff.
I mean, the man's definitely been doing the grinding time, right? We said him and Mister have just been relentless in their practice, and apparently they played these particular types of permutations to perfection almost. And you know, the only thing that I was kind of missing there is obviously we got the healing spring at home very long on. That's what I was talking about how healing spring on the offensive can be really useful. Imagine if that had been there as well. I think Loki just has a very robust and reliable set of aggressive tools in his arsenal. Things like you know,
Hmm.
things like the, as we saw later in the game, the taunts coming in. Also love the way he kind of laid the cake, right? Like the taunts can be a double-edged sword and that your rock giants can be exposed, but if you time it right, as we saw there, you're still able to skim a full melee army while not letting them actually hit you. It's absolutely superb to witness, and I can't believe that's only game one, man. You can tell we're getting deeper in the runnings here, and of course, folks, everything on the line because we are still dancing in single elimination form here. So fall here,
Hmm.
and you fall eternal in Red Bull Wololo El Renador.
Now we go to Savannah. Zeus versus Isis. Savannah can be a quite aggressive map. This is kind of one of the classics, kind of like Arabia, right? So players like to play it quite a lot. It's a very popular map in Age of Mythology. And now we have Isis versus Zeus. Oh man, a classic matchup as well. Oh man, we have more god power interactions with this one too. You're betting that Wham wishes he had Ceasefire that game, right? Ceasefire being an exceptional tool against flaming weapons, but it's also quite good against Ancestors Eclipse if you can get the timing right. So we'll see how this plays. We'll see how this plays. Oh boy,
I feel like
it's
sometimes.
happening.
Is it ready? Are we getting into? I think we are. Well, we are so excited to get into it. We haven't even finished loading the game up yet. But folks, remember, there is no forgiving here. RecoN, one of the favorably seeded players, really now running into the toughens in Wham. But Wham already now back up against the wall. Oranos not able to deliver him a dub. Can Zeus do it to get us to a game 3? Let's find out.
And see, this is the build you see a lot from the high level players playing Isis. You build this monument instantly, and we're going to see he might even just pre-queue Flood of the Nile here at his granary. Because essentially, it gives you access to essentially 2 free vills. So the earlier you get it, the better. It's exceptionally good tech. We'll see what ends up happening, though.
Makes sense as well, right? Like getting it early on, it's that kind of logic of percentage-wise, your total economy, it's a drastically high number when you get it earlier in the game.
Hmm.
Um, Other side of this, I'm wondering like what we're going to see out of Zeus. We had a Zeus a little bit earlier today where it actually turned into kind of a macro 2TC. If you remember, I think that was Rappel's game. And that was again set a more aggressive faction. Isis, I feel like, plays a little
Oh.
bit slower. And that is a very early bolt just to deny any vision coming out from the
Bolting
priest.
the bird, bolting the scout, bolting the vision there. That's gonna put RecoN potentially on a back foot. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how much I like that.
I mean, I guess he's trying to starve the map, maybe force RecoN out quicker. But you're right. Like the whole point in that bolt is it's meant to be an easy way of ruining these interesting kind of like transitional configurations, right? Like so, initial Nubite that can do a lot of damage, take him out of the equation, right? The initial priest coming out that might cause you a nuisance, take them out. But the scout, I feel like Wham's up to something tricky here, something that requires a lack of vision for the Egyptians.
Potentially an Athena rush, right? This is one of the classic
Mm.
strategies of Zeus, right? You go Athena, you get Minotaurs, you get Hoplites, and you push with Resto, right? Not sure the viability of it anymore, and we see Flood of the Nile going to be queued up here, so it's coming in as well. So the Vil count is going to be ever so slightly in favor of RecoN here in terms of income, right? He has the slightly slower Vils, but he has what? The Pharaoh empowering half of his economy. He has 2 free villagers giving him food from the Nile floodplains. He has a monument. Things looking good for RecoN. Oh man, I'm so excited by these games. Like last game got me. Can I just say proper pumped? Like
Right?
I'm hype right now.
I mean, I think that is the closest game we've had in terms of fight that makes the difference, right? Like we see plenty of games where it's like, oh, this guy's already kind of losing this game, or oh, this fight is just going to be dominant. But for anyone who didn't catch it, that first game, needle thread from both players, it could have went either way. A decisive fight that would have decided the game either way. So curious to see what they're going to deliver for us in this second one. Tech up should start coming through, and it looks like we are going to
Hermes.
get the atypical Hermes. You talked about having ceasefire and how wonderful it would be. That's definitely going to
Yeah.
be a tool in the arsenal of Wham this time around.
It's just so good against these gods with god powers that are over a duration. right? It's so good. It's really hard to understate the potency of ceasefire in terms of just canceling what the opponent is doing. And we're gonna see Anubis coming in. That's a bit of a surprise. So ISIS, not a huge surprise. We do see players doing it both ways, right? But going to be sacrificing that Eclipse, maybe with the knowledge, right? Maybe RecoN playing a bit of mind games here, understanding, oh, I'm not going to go for the classic combo because you could just have ceasefire, right? So some maybe mind games even in just the god choices here.
Interesting thought as well, because like I think usually when you're against cavalry civs, like finding that opportunity to use the eclipse is a bit harder, right? Because you can just get kited out. It doesn't even necessarily need to be the ceasefire. And you know when you're out in this matchup, especially when you're expecting Hermes to come out, it's likely gonna be a cavalry target for your opponent. So I kind of agree with it. Like, you know, on multiple layers of the cake, it makes sense for RecoN here. It looks like we are now going to see him starting to set up those obelisks just to kind of keep vision on the map. Centaur is already on his way to be a nuisance. And I think, have we got any priests coming out?
There was one trained.
Okay, just
so
one.
he's got an obelisk on the left scouting. Now, an interesting note is the Anubite is going to be decent at chasing down the Centaur. You can kind of get these shots off where you jump and deal damage real quick in a burst. And you'll see that here. Burst.
I definitely saw
he missed.
They burst the crap out of that plant on the ground. Yep.
Yeah, that plant got wrecked. There's now a hole in the ground exactly the size of 2 Anubites. Oh no. The slow comes in. The scouts are on him. The damage might be here. Overextending. Gonna have to use the jump away defensively.
Into a tree. But he'll be able to run around in time.
And he can always heal these up with the priest, keep in mind. So it's like the damage here, it seems bad. It's bad tempo, but there's 3 priests ready to heal him up. It'll be okay.
Second settlement, though. Yeah. We saw it from Rappel earlier, right? This kind of idea just rushing into a second settlement. Usually you'd expect it on the other side, especially when you're talking about ISIS, but so far a little bit more hunkered down for RecoN.
Yeah, as ISIS tends to be in the early game. We do have Plague of Serpents, which can be used in offensive moments, but I doubt we're going to see that just yet. The chicken's going to get denied by that ability. RecoN with good reactions there. One chicken will get kind of... okay. He's good. The priests are here. The centaur's about to meet its fate if he steps forward that far. And
it just walks between them. It's like crossfire's a thing, right, boys? Oh no. Heavy loss.
Up.
And the Nubites are coming. I think he hasn't...
Can we check?
He must have. They have been gone for so long. And the timing on this as well. Hercules at least there, but...
Yeah.
You could easily snipe 2 or 3 villages.
Well, you just split here, right? There's no Theseus, right? Or whatever his name is. I always forget the name of the Zeus's. Okay,
Theseus, I think, is the correct one, and this is Heracles. And... You might be right.
Hades is Ajax.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about it.
We're just gonna get the shopping list together.
Yeah, I know there's Theseus, and then there's.
If we click on a town center, is it Jason?
It's Jason. It's Jason. I said it before the chat said it. I promise.
So I have this.
I just got flamed. I just got flamed so hard. Everyone's thinking this idiot. Who the hell is this guy? No, I get it.
So I
never read the names.
In fairness, I erased Jason from my mind. The reason is anytime I hear the name Jason, I just think of Heavy Rain, the game, where like he's running around the shopping mart. Yelling, Jason! That's all I ever hear.
Jason Derulo.
Okay, that wasn't where I was going.
That's where chat went, so I went with it, I'm vibing, man. I'm feeling good now. That game got me pumped. You can see a little chip damage coming in. We didn't see the second monument, so it's not going to be some crazy Anubite all-in, which can be surprising. Dude, I'm telling you, play against Mista and have him do this Anubite all-in on you. I'm telling you, you will think differently about Anubites. It is terrifying to defend as Greeks. I'm telling you, it's really good. People are sleeping on it. People are sleeping on it.
My favorite Mista build has to be the you don't get gold Norse build, where he walks his hearses over and he just starts building houses around your mine. So you can't gather. So, I mean, I'm hoping we're getting to see someone a little bit later. He's definitely had some very creative strategies. Meantime, we are going to have RecoN, his scrim partner, playing a little bit more of a chill approach here. The Nubites are still proving to be very annoying, but there is a solution coming to that. I'm noticing Hippias is getting queued up. So finally, we're going to start seeing these boys getting chased down.
Oh, tries to go for the Vil. Instead, Jason, who I now know the name of. I promise I will not forget. Jason Derulo. He's going to be able to take out that Anubite. And now there are 2 more still on the field. Gonna take a decent trade there for a second, then jump away. Oh, it's so fun. I love the change there where you can ground target that ability. It is so much more engaging to play with the new bites.
There's a term that like I love, which is skill expression, right? And I think that's what that change has done. It gives so much skill expression, right? You know, we both have plenty of hours in Dota, and you know we're familiar very much with this term juke. It kind of feels like that type of ability where you can juke people, like, oh no, you've pinned me next to a tree line.
Oh,
Jumps over the tree line.
what is this?
We got the spears in.
No one expected the Isis classical spearman play. It's not the most common. Players tend to favor aging up quickly, but I think RecoN sensed that he had to pressure this TC play, and he's not going to trade with the spears.
All right, back to the music studio with you, Derulo. Not going to work out there. And it means Heracles is also going to get beaten. Spear beats club, especially when you bring 8 of them to the party.
Yeah, wow. That's funny. Notably, we do have Serpent Spear on the table, potentially. We're not seeing it just yet. Serpent Spear is going to be that tech where the Spearmen deal poison damage. And, like, it's exceptionally good. It's a very good DPS improvement for your Spearmen. But we're not seeing it just yet. Instead, we're seeing Sylvan Lore coming in on the side of Wham.
Okay,
Getting
so
some move speed.
And oh, we have is that the age up on the way? I'm seeing cute. What's that in the gold? No, it's not an age up.
That is Nephis queued up.
That is, yeah, I was right. Yeah,
Queued up, but not occurring. That is a right click. Now
something suboptimal. Finally on the way. So Nephthys is going to be coming in. Age 3 is going to be on the way. We don't have
comes
a
in.
similar move from Wham. We just have an awkward fight. Centaurs have been upgraded, but the priests are already there. And there's just so many spearmen here. It feels like the hippies just can't easily get in.
Yeah, so what you're really going to need that upgrade from Nephis to give you the extra range, right? Priests get more range per age, so you can see they're struggling here to get in range of hitting those centaurs, right? But Nephis has a wonderful, wonderful tech.
Tell me about that tech. Music to my ears.
It gives the priest more damage against Myth.
I
And
just
you
want
get
to
the
hit
additional rage from life, and it's really good. I'm just saying, it'll be really good. You can also make the piece cheaper.
Where are you going, buddy? Your army needs your assistance. This dive is very aggressive. RecoN, look at the collective HP on this front line.
He's running into the ability. The centaur damage is raining down. Aptly named there.
Priest
and the priests are going to go down before they're upgraded. Serpents defensively.
That's going to be Jason dead. Once again, back to the studio. Poke comes in as more priests do arrive. The hippies just have to back up. But these centaurs, the damage is adding up in these fights.
Yeah, a big nerf did occur on the player build right now. So we're on a tournament build, and I think it's worth calling out that this tournament build, the centaur damage against heroes with the ability, you can't see this stat in-game anywhere, but there's a modifier on the ability, the Rain of Arrows ability. It only deals 0.25 damage. It deals 25% damage against heroes now. On the live version of the game that you could play right now as a viewer, it will be dealing 50% damage against heroes. So
you sound like you're trying to get to buy copies that you as a viewer could play right
could be playing this game right now if you bought it, indeed.
Or you just wait for our giveaway later today. Revealing things.
Or both. So now the Scorpion coming in, trying to deal some damage against the Hippias. But Hercules is there, smacking him away. The Camel comes out, but not really enough. You can see the range on those priests now from the back line, trying to get those shots off on the Centaur. But honestly, Wham, with incredible micro, the pressure on RecoN feels like it's adding up.
I don't know if it is, though. You just saw what's happening. Migdal just came down. It is being supervised by the Pharaoh, which means we've got Camel Riders coming out. And if you look at Wham's composition, he has no answer right now to mass camels.
Yeah, and a big exposed move there. You can see Wham going to the gold on the left there without any defenses. That could be an opportunity for the camels to come in, potentially find a raid. We could see just a Ancestors raw damage just casted on the hunt or on the gold there potentially. We'll see. Ceasefire still an option.
True.
As his Ancestors.
Now going into Heroic as well, so we have got the upgrades on the way. But still some way off. By the time he's going to be there, I feel like this entire cavalry comp should be amply counted. More spears getting added in. Camel Riders are being held in reserve. Kind of surprised that we're not seeing RecoN lean a bit more aggressive, because I think he has got a second Migdal now set up. So quite nicely laid when it comes to the defenses.
Dionysus is going to be a really interesting option here. He has this tech called Thracian Horses, and it's going to work so well with the cavalry play that that Hermes has enabled here with Zeus, right? And Thracian Horses gives your cavalry lifesteal, which can mean against their counters like camels and spears, they might have a bit more durability on the front line. And then, oh, you just can't run into that. You just cannot run into that. No, that's a little circle of death.
Just gonna sidestep it. When your armies get big, it becomes a little bit harder to manage. Wide split coming in here. Spears, plus the camels are going to start engaging, and that poison damage is proving to be a nuisance. But looks like he's just trying to cut off small trickles. I think RecoN doesn't want to have to full dive the main. He just wants that room to start finding the eco on the flank.
The heroes go down.
But he's aged up. Okay, no, that's not a great sign. Hydra's now on the way, but I don't think the Hydra can really frontline for long. There's still a lot of priests here.
The Hydra's kind of useless here. The big thing is going to be the introduction of the Prodromos, which will deal much better against the camels. And just a ceasefire because the gold gets caught out. He's going to have to move everything in there. Oh, this means Ancestors can come right after this. Let's see if RecoN goes for this opportunity. There's maybe a timing here. If his army is still stronger, he could just Ancestors this location right after ceasefire ends.
I think you could even just kind of go in towards the secondary settlement, right? Like, this is a fortress to protect the west side flank, but the east side still feels wide open here. So although you won't be able to, like, deprive him of gold, I think food and wood could easily be stripped back if he just goes east.
And now we'll see the micro from RecoN. He's got to get his priests onto their centaur, but the damage comes in. So many units go down for RecoN.
Hydra now coming in. Priests are going to be able to poke it a bit, but they need to move back here. The Migdal to protect, and there it is. Ancestor gets activated with the bronze here. It's going to allow him to keep diving in. Wham! Not able to get that saturation damage, but may be able to pile onto this Migdal to bring it down.
5 centaurs in the back. They keep getting so much damage. The spearmen just never going to take a good fight against the Hippias if the centaurs are able to use their ability on top. The bronze backs up, trying to deal with the minions from the Ancestors slowly.
He needs to go, right? Because like the presence, the value here is all that damage has whittled him down. But if you do idle out, the priest will heal over time. Funnily enough, the priests are getting to poke at those centaurs, but you see how even for them it's difficult to kill them while the bronze is still activated. It's about to come down now. We do at least have some armor upgrades on the way for RecoN. But fair to say that his aggression has been offset a little. In the meantime, we are going to see him stake a claim on the east side. Camels are still looming on the west, but as long as that fortress is there, it's not easy to take this gold away.
Yeah, this is a spicy game. This is going to get close. I think it could come down to a crazy push. This could come down to Meteor. Let's see what the game gives us, though.
It would be a majestical way to try and end this one out. Double Hydra now, so we actually have him actively adding them in now, and a Toxicate switch on the way.
Yeah, the second Hydra's kind of interesting. I was a bit surprised to see that, but maybe just getting some frontline in certain situations. This DC.
So
Wham?
who wins?
Wham?
The builders
Wham?
or
Wham?
the killers?
Wham?
I don't think you're winning this race, Wham.
Wham? Where's your
Definitely
units?
not winning this race. What?
Wham hasn't looked until now because why isn't his army here? TC goes down.
That.
Oh, what? The repairs are coming in? The units aren't fighting the units? The centaurs are almost there. Centaur ability will clear this.
You can't. I cannot believe that. He pulled the rest of his army back. RecoN had enough there to finish that off while Wham wasn't looking. Maybe a little bit too much respect given. And somehow, someway, the miracle settlement stays alive.
Oh, man. But by some miracle, yeah, that's crazy. Now we have the Pedrobolus on the field. Gonna start sieging down this mid-goal in the middle of the map. And we did see Wham earlier build like 5 archery ranges or something crazy. So this Tox mass came out of nowhere, it seems. RecoN, though, does have like 60% of map control. But this one army in the middle is starting to really add up. There's 2 Petropolis, so the fortresses are going to go down. Got to start getting the repairs going so that you can keep this one up. RecoN? Okay, he's here. He's
just
looking,
about. Keeping a little bit close there, but flank raid opportunities are starting to fall away for RecoN here, right? We've got fortresses on east and west flank. Wham in a fairly consolidated position. I feel like there's still a lot of the army that RecoN has in this game that's more focused on poking economy than taking the main fight.
And on the back of this, what is this upgrade we have on the far left for? I'm just missing the
I just got the upgrade for the priest, right?
No, that is Osiris.
Sorry, that's the funeral rites.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
so the one that
Again,
gives
these
you
icons,
gold.
these icons. Osiris is coming in, right? So that's that age up. And so we talked about maybe ending the game with Meteor, but Son of Osiris is going to be equally devastating against a lot of these units.
Yeah, especially against Mass Toxicate, right? Because it's going to give you that saturation damage against a clumped force here. The question mark is how bruised is he going to be upon arrival? We see the pressure coming in. The catapults have stacked up. So the Migdals are not going to last long, considering that he's trying to actively produce into things like the Chariot Archers. That is more active production being removed because these defenses usually are a core component of Egypt's armies in the late game.
Yeah, but I think RecoN might be okay with losing this position for now. He's built a lot of, he has kind of like another layer of fortresses. He's controlling all the gold mines, right? So that's something very important for RecoN to have just picked up this kind of gold mine in the middle. It's a big moment for him. He needs to come out to this and start using it probably quite soon.
Especially considering Egypt, let's say, is like the most gold-heavy faction we have in the game, right? Like, others can get away with a little bit of gold, but I feel like the moment you cut off their source here, the Egyptians, it kind of feels over. Let's see if we can be turned around here. Upgrade comes
on the
in.
field, the big Chad himself.
Did you, buddy? Yeah, okay, and he's so dominant, the entire enemy Greek army runs.
I mean, it's actually kind of accurate. I don't know if you've seen this guy fight. He does a lot of damage.
You know where you're like, I want to have those low kind of bronze level games where you have enough time to get enough favor to get like 3 of those boys going, you know? Oh, there's a reason that you cannot heal them. But nice little raid here with the Chariot Archers. I love how we've got a proxy bait. This is classic RecoN, man.
Yeah. Farms in the far corner for Wham are going to get idled, but Wham still keeping up the Pedrobolus pressure. The catapult, though, so siege against siege does a lot of damage here. You can see the catapult almost one-shotting there. You got to wake up if you're Wham. Does lose one Petropolis. The defense might be here for a bit.
It's actually going to be pressured. Cav's coming in. Looks like the siege is going to work out. So Migdal is going to be going down. And to ask the question, like, what is RecoN doing in return? What is he finding right now? His army was able to raid some economy. I don't think he's really able to kind of carve up the map.
Osiris and double mummy.
He's so slow, though. Like,
but not if the enemy walks into you. What? Not if the enemy walks into Osiris. The centaurs go down.
Absolutely shocking. Literally and figuratively. I can't believe that. It's just like, wow,
Wham had
track
no
a little bit.
He had just no clue that those units were right there. He thought he was rotating through his base, and instead, he was rotating through Osiris's face. And now the talks are remasked. They're going to try and make a play, but again, it's not going to be the cleanest of engagements available.
Meanwhile, this TC that somehow survived, this TC that lived, may have finally come to die. Camels are going to ride in. Catapult's going to be taken out. Looks like the settlement's not going to be lasting much longer. The age up has come through, but maybe it can be saved. Lightning Storm coming in to force
Will
RecoN
Osiris
back.
get out? Will Osiris get out? Big question.
Big gamble.
Looks like he will. So Lightning Storm, it ramps up over time. Initially, there's just a couple bolts, but in the last couple seconds, there's way more bolts. So you have time to evacuate, and it looks like RecoN with no military actively fighting
Most
is going to be able to just get away.
It's not a RecoN game unless trade comes out. So we're finally getting that permanence of gold for him. And on the other side of it, Wham, I don't think has done something comparative. We really want to check on the status of the gold veins to see how much he's got left to work with here, right? Because this could become a taxing point in the game.
Yeah, gold is going to be super critical at this stage.
He's doing pretty well. It almost feels like RecoN to get his trade set up has given over a lot of this, but they're coming in.
For who? Osiris. So a big note about Osiris is he can't be healed. So every point of damage to him adds up over time.
Although, keep in mind, like if you kind of ape into these fights, this is the power of the mummy plus Osiris, right? Able to infect the bunch and then zap them down. All of a sudden, you have a fresh front line to ruin your opponent's day.
Yeah, the minions. We do see a Medusa on the field. That's what you get for going Harry. You get Lightning Storm and Medusa.
The mummies. They have their ability to recharge soon. I think Osiris was accidentally healing instead of killing. We're going to fix that now. He's a magician. One zap, and they all disappear. This is an ugly fight. I can't believe it. Wham just feels like he can't give up the position, but you're seeing that damage, Satura. It's in, and it will be enough to force him away.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But RecoN on the sides is just owning the sides. But this fight in the middle, the talks are moving in. Osiris has successfully retreated to the back. He's just healing. Yeah. Interesting choices. Belafron going down.
I'm still worried about Osiris, though. Like, you know, you're seeing the front line starting to get whittled down a bit. One, the mummy's able to back away. If you hang around with these archers, they're going to start getting sniped.
No, the talks aren't winning this fight, dude. They gotta run. Osiris is gonna get one shot into them, and it's gonna be really rough. And now the catapult's on the right side. The catapult on the left, solo raiding alongside a Migdol. The Pharaoh goes down. Osiris on the front.
He's still here. He's still partying, and he hates wildlife. Whammy goes down. He gets surrounded, though.
RecoN throws Osiris out.
Wait a second.
Wham takes the opportunity, takes him down. A huge win there, taking out that god power.
But it's come at a price, right? And we're seeing the gold strain here. I think Wham is starting to get starved out. That's what's mattering most. Yes, Son of Osiris goes down, but now when gold matters most, you're getting pressured at the one location realistically you have left to gather it from. Because that east side, I'm pretty sure that gold is about 1,000 left, and then Wham is officially out.
Yeah, and RecoN's on trade. His control of the late game here has been phenomenal. There was that central push that really looked like it might put RecoN on the back foot, but like RecoN just had so much stuff. He had so much stuff built up in the middle.
I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It's pretty much just shelling out all the units you can afford, right? Like, it never feels like it's one unit. We had the Chariot Archers, Camel Riders, then you got the Spearmen coming out, you know, then you got the Mummies. Like, it's a never-ending slew of crap being thrown the way of Wham. Meanwhile, Wham looks like the Archer Mass will get wiped out. This time, Son of Osiris was not required. Medusa will at least be able to zone him away, but officially down now, the fortress is gone, the settlement has been lost. And I'm starting to feel this game slipping away from Wham's grasp. I'm starting to sense a 2-0.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way as well. It just doesn't look great for Wham at this stage. The gold question is going to quickly become a big issue. Medusas do start to do quite a lot of damage with all their upgrades, but I'm not sure I'm seeing it.
Do you have the time to scale that, right? Because I think Medusas take a while to produce, if I remember correctly, right? They're not, and they're gold, so
yeah. But he's got 3. He's getting their upgrade. Like, it could be a way in, but
it's quite the punch. It's going to take time. Time he might not have. He's rushing up a fortress in the center. Has to stand his ground with his army. I just feel like it's going to cost you the entire army to get this online. And then what?
See, a second cease.
Okay.
What does this do?
This lets RecoN send even more units to the front side.
This buys more time for RecoN's trade to kick in.
Sounds delicious to me. Look at the military difference, though. And even with the ceasefire, I don't think Wham's going to be able to gap close that quick enough, considering gold, even though he's now getting it for 15 seconds, is a grand limitation. You have like one drop off here.
He's trying to like block the mine so you can't drop off. Oh man, this fight's about to break out again, and we'll see how it goes. The Medusas have their ability again. There's 4 of them in the back there, and they deal a lot of damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Peltis are not in the spot they want to be. They are going down. Heavy Chariot Archer is about to click in for that final gold aesthetic and insane damage, and ceasefire might end, but shortly after it, a peace treaty is signed in which Wham is the loser.
A peace treaty where he just lost half of Germany, it feels like. That's how brutal of a loss that was. Brilliant late game out of RecoN. Something I'd expect out of him. He's always been comfortable historically with Myth, with Age of Empires 4, playing these late game situations. And present enable in this one, right? Shows the power of Egypt, shows the power of himself. The trade transition was succinctly done and well padded. I think what really mattered there was that pivot to the west side where he knew Wham was looking for that gold, right? He essentially dragged him to the entire opposite side of the map to protect his own scaling economy while it was most vulnerable. That is why RecoN is such a threat, no matter the RTS, when you get that deep into the game.